Wow, what a day. First off, if I sound a little muffled or look a little stupid, I've been sick since like last week, so. Anyway, Cole Pearn has left the building. Like, he's still alive, and that's great, but he's resigned as Martin Truex Jr.'s crew chief. It's a stunner. Certain crew chief and driver combinations have been vital to the sport. When you think of driver crew chief combos, you think of Kirk Shelmedy and Earnhardt. You think of Inman and Petty. You think of Canals and Johnson. You think of Gordon and Abraham. And I know I'm leaving out a lot more, but it's a shocker that this has happened. I don't even have correct words for it. It just dropped. Bob Pockrass did his Adrian Wojnarowski NASCAR bomb. Boom! And it blew up. It's blown up the Twitter world. It's blown up the NASCAR community. I think Martin's going to struggle from his previous expectations. I still think he'll make the playoffs, but I think he'll win maybe 2 races, tops. Probably get 7th in the driver standings next season. And when you lose a crew chief that has chemistry and meshes with you, ask Jimmy Johnson. It can really hurt. Ask Richard Petty when he lost Inman for the first time. It really hurt. Like, chemistry is vital. Yes, you got to have driver talent to do this, and yes, you got to have the funding if you're not in one of those good cars to try and put your talent out to get one of those great cars. But at the same time, it's a shocker. I wish Cole Pearn the best of luck in whatever he chooses to do. He's proven that he's a great crew chief. I personally wanted to see him get with other drivers and try and build a Hall of Fame career, but he's a great crew chief, and I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope that he comes back to the sport someday, or whatever the situation is, and go from there. The one address that I didn't deal with last week is the Stuart Friesen news. Him being supplied by Kyle Busch Motorsports equipment now. I think it's really stupid. Yes, I know that he's a team owner and he's got to do what he's got to do to try to make himself competitive and do the best he can for himself and his guys. And I understand Kyle Busch is trying to make good business deals to enhance his program and get funding and get the best drivers, and when they don't have sponsorship, that when they have the best equipment, they can go through guys if people like Todd Gill they don't perform. Like, I just don't understand it. I feel like that should have went to a team that has Toyotas on point, where you could have had young talent. You could have basically ran it as KBM2. You could have had it like this, and you could have had more people actually have winning equipment in the truck series. But no, you got to give it to a guy who was only good on dirt and got one good win at ISM, where Brett Moffitt had the truck to beat, and then he basically threw the race away. But granted, Friesen made the Final Four, and he did what he had to do to get there, and I'm not taking anything away from that. I just feel like the truck series is the truck series. This is the same argument I would have against Crafton, our champion, and Sauter. It's for young guys and guys trying to develop. If you're over 40, you shouldn't be in the truck series. I'm sorry, you shouldn't. Yes, I know there's fun in being a truck lifer, and I know the veterans are there to help teach rookies, and you need some of that, but there's got to be a mesh and a fine line of how old is too old and how we're going to properly develop young guys and yet make the racing better. NASCAR has more problems in the truck series. They need to figure out what to do to get their cars right for the next gen, to get competition better, cost down, more competitive playing field. They should do this with a salary cap, but they got to figure out all these things. And the teams got to figure out what they have to work with. So all in all, I feel like they're on the right track to do stuff with that, but when you have moves like this, it hurts it a little bit. Because yes, I know NASCAR has given a bad rules package, and the budgetary constraints is way different from the top teams compared to the small teams, just from Cup to the freaking Truck Series alone. From the basically the Gibbs cars to the starting parks or low budget teams, like, it's substantial. And you have guys who are talented who are in these cars, but they can't really show what they have because they don't have money, or the team doesn't have money to actually put in funding. I mean, moves like this, just, I feel like, hurt it if you aren't talking immediate expansion to try and give a young driver a shot to try to develop and succeed. I feel like Toyota could have done this a better way. And I'm not knocking Stuart Friesen for doing what he had to do. An opportunity was there for him to take it, and he took it with some business dealings with Kyle Busch. But I feel like that could have been well spent on a better team. Wish Cole Pearn nothing but the best. Martin Truex Jr. is going to, in my opinion, downgrade a little bit, but he's still going to be in the playoffs. Don't worry. And have a good day, and have a good night. Youth Moves Gaming here.